To begin the repair process for the Model 375 8 and 10-inch backflow preventers, first close the inlet and outlet shutoff valves. You will want to open the number 2, number 3, and number 4 test cocks to release the pressure from the valve. Leave the test cocks open during check removal and reinstallation. Loosen and remove the 2 nuts and bolts on the groove coupling on the cover. Remove the coupling halves, gasket, and the cover. To remove the number 1 check valve, unscrew and remove the 4 nuts and washers around the outside of the check with an 11/16 socket. Slide the check assembly back off the studs in the body. Always service the checks one at a time to avoid mixing parts. Both checks can be repaired following the same procedure. You will want to remove the bolts from the seal retainer on the check, then remove the retainer. Remove the seal ring and inspect the face for cuts or embedded debris. For a temporary fix, you can flip the seal ring over to use the smooth side while waiting for new replacement parts. Inspect the sharp edge of the seat with your finger for any damage. Inspect O-ring in the groove on the seat for debris or damage. Replace any damaged parts. If you are installing a repair kit, replace the seal ring, seat O-ring, and bolt O-rings. Reassemble the check and tighten the retainer bolts evenly. Clean and inspect the O-ring sealing area in the body. Next, you will lubricate the seat O-ring. To remove the number 2 check valve, unscrew and remove the 7 nuts and washers around the outside of the check with an 11/16 socket. Remove the stainless retaining ring from the studs. Slide the check assembly back off the studs in the body. After servicing the number 2 check, place it on the studs in the body. Slide the stainless steel retaining ring onto the studs. Place the 7 washers and nuts on the studs and tighten the nuts evenly. When placing the check assemblies back onto the studs in the body, you want to make sure the O-ring stays in its groove. Place number 1 check assembly onto its studs in the body. Place the 4 washers and nuts on the studs and tighten the nuts evenly. Place the groove coupling gasket over the valve opening. Lubricate the outside of the gasket. Replace cover and reassemble groove coupling. Make sure coupling is seated properly and the ends of the coupling halves touch. Close test cock. Before servicing the relief valve, make sure to check the troubleshooting section of the instructions. The most common cause of discharge from the relief valve is debris in the number 1 check valve. Unscrew pressure sensing hose from relief valve cover fitting. Unscrew the bolts from the relief valve cover counterclockwise. The cover is spring-loaded, so leave 2 bolts opposite each other to remove last. Hold the cover tightly in place as you remove these last 2 bolts. Pull the cover straight away from the valve body. The relief valve cartridge will stay in the cover. Remove the spring. Inspect the sharp edge of the seat with your finger for any damage. A damaged seat can be replaced if required by pulling the seat straight out of the body. Make sure to lubricate the O-ring before installing a new seat. Gently pull the cartridge from the relief valve cover. Inspect the seal ring for any cuts or embedded debris. You will want to disassemble the cartridge by unscrewing the seal ring retainer screw. Inspect the diaphragm closely for wear or holes. Inspect the O-ring on the upper plunger for any cuts or damage. Clean the components and replace any damaged parts. Next, you will want to carefully reassemble the cartridge and tighten the seal ring retainer screw. Lubricate the O-ring on the upper plunger. Place the spring around the seat in the body. Insert cartridge assembly into the spring. Place the cover onto cartridge assembly and push the cover towards the body. Make sure the cartridge centers into the seat guide ring and the bead of the diaphragm fits into the groove in the relief valve body. Align hose fitting on cover to the left of top center. Thread 2 screws into opposite holes by hand while holding the cover in place. Thread the remaining cover screws into place and tighten all screws evenly. Thread hose onto fitting and relief valve cover and tighten with wrench. Open your inlet valve slowly to pressurize the assembly. Inspect for any leaks. Open and then close test cocks to bleed air from the assembly. Open your outlet valve a small amount and wait for system to pressurize. Fully open the outlet valve once the system is pressurized. The valve should be tested by trained personnel to confirm that it is working properly.